All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about The Diary of a Young Girl. It's a story about how one young voice, which was really just a whisper in a world torn apart by war, somehow became this incredible roar that we can still hear today. She once wrote this incredible line, "I want to go on living even after my death." And she has, but not just as some symbol of tragedy. No, she became a beacon of truth. So picture this. In a world absolutely fractured by war and fear, there's a young girl sitting behind a bookcase in Amsterdam, and she's writing. And she wasn't writing to become famous or to be remembered. She was writing to understand. She wasn't trying to escape. She was trying to endure. Her name, of course, was Anne Frank. And her diary? Well, it's become one of the most powerful, most enduring voices of the entire 20th century. It's a voice that tells us about suffering, sure, but also about spirit, about loss, yeah, but also about longing. And it's not just about death, it's profoundly about life. Okay, so to really get Anne's diary, we have to understand the world she was living in. It was a world on fire. So, Anne Frank was born back in 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany, to a liberal Jewish family. Now, as Hitler's power grew and those awful anti-Semitic laws started closing in, the Franks did what many others did. They fled. They went to the Netherlands in 1934, just hoping for some safety. But that safety didn't last. By 1940, the Nazis had invaded the Netherlands too. And for Jewish citizens, everything changed. Their rights were stripped away. They were forced to wear yellow stars, banned from public places, and then, eventually, deported to concentration camps. The tipping point for the Frank family came in July 1942. That's when Anne's sister Margot got a summons to report to a labor camp. They knew what that meant. So the family went into hiding in this concealed annex tucked away behind her father Otto Frank's office. For 761 days. Just think about that. Over 2 years. 8 people living in complete silence and shadows. The annex was tiny, the air was stale, and the fear was constant. But what's amazing is that even in this incredibly confined space, Anne's imagination just soared. And it was right there, within those tight walls, that her diary became her own personal sanctuary, a sanctuary for her thoughts. Anne actually got her diary for her 13th birthday only a few weeks before her family went into hiding. She named it Kitty, and she wrote to it like it was her most trusted friend. And what started out as just a private journal, it quickly turned into so much more. It became her sanctuary, the one place where she could be totally honest, totally vulnerable, and completely free. And her entries, they're just so vivid, so smart, and so emotionally raw. I mean, she writes about everything. The tension of living crammed together with 7 other people, the constant fear of being discovered, the sound of sirens wailing in the night. But it's not all darkness. She also writes about her dreams, her frustrations, and how she's changing and figuring out who she is. In a world that was trying to completely silence her, picking up that pen, that was her act of rebellion. She put it perfectly herself. She wrote, "I can shake off everything as I write. My sorrows disappear. My courage is reborn." So for Anne, writing wasn't just some escape. It was her source of strength. You see, Anne's diary isn't just a list of things that happened. Not at all. It's a record of a complete transformation. It's where we get to witness the blossoming of her mind, this incredible inner journey she took. Over those 2 years in hiding, you can literally watch her grow up on the page. She goes from this spirited, sometimes even mischievous girl into a deeply thoughtful, introspective young woman. And she questions everything: her faith, her family, her own future. She thinks about the nature of good and evil, about the unbelievable cruelty of the world, but also about how resilient the human heart is. Her writing just gets deeper, more philosophical, more nuanced, and you can feel the urgency in it. I love this line from her. "People can tell you to keep your mouth shut, but that doesn't stop you from having your own opinion." See? That's the key. Anne's voice isn't the voice of a victim. It's the voice of a thinker, a seeker, a soul that was truly blossoming. And what she wrote about, well, it's packed with these huge universal ideas. These are themes that absolutely echo through time. I mean, Anne's diary is just so rich with themes that go way beyond her own time and speak directly to us right now. You've got the power of the pen, the complexity of identity, hope in the face of horror, and, of course, the fragility of freedom. It's these themes that really show you just how deep her writing was. But maybe the most powerful theme of all is just hope. Think about it. Bombs are falling, friends are disappearing, and still, Anne clung to hope.
And her belief that people were good, that wasn't some naive, childish idea. It was a radical, powerful act of faith. And that's where we get that famous, unbelievable line, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart."
And then, tragically, came the silence. On August 4th, 1944, the Secret Annex was betrayed. All 8 people hiding there were arrested and deported to concentration camps. Anne and her sister Margot were eventually sent to Bergen-Belsen. They died there, of typhus, in early 1945. Anne was only 15 years old. Her father, Otto Frank, was the only one who survived. When he returned to Amsterdam, he found Anne's diary. And in 1947, he did what she had dreamed of. He had it published. Since then, her words have reached millions. They've been translated into more than 70 languages and turned into plays, films, and taught in schools all over the world.
But her story really doesn't end with its publication. It continues to be so important because it's like a mirror held up to our own times.
Look, Anne's diary isn't just some dusty relic from the past. It really is a mirror for right now. I mean, we live in a world that's still struggling with intolerance, with people being displaced from their homes, with powerful forces trying to silence voices. Her words are as relevant as ever. Her story forces us, it urges us to ask ourselves, what does it actually mean to be human when the world around you is so inhuman?
And how do we hold on to our dignity when others are trying to strip it away? And maybe, most importantly, what stories are we failing to hear today? Because Anne's voice is this powerful reminder that behind every statistic you read about, there's a soul. Behind every conflict, there is a child who has dreams, just like she did.
So let's just take a meditative pause here. If we really stop and listen, I mean, not just read the words, but truly listen to her voice, what does Anne teach us? Well, she teaches us that silence can be louder than bombs, that one single voice can actually outlive an entire empire, and that even when you're in hiding, the human spirit can shine so brightly. Her diary, it's so much more than a book. It's a prayer, it's a protest, and it's a promise. Just imagine it. In the stillness of that annex, Anne Frank wrote by candlelight. Her physical world was shrinking, getting smaller every day, but her words were expanding. She wrote about fear, yes, but she also wrote about faith. She wrote about confinement, but she also wrote about dreams. And in doing all that, she became something more than just a diarist. She became a witness, a philosopher, a poet of what it means to be human. Her story isn't just about the past. It's a call to our own conscience. It's a reminder that even in the absolute darkest hour, the light of just one voice can be enough to illuminate the entire world.